Hello and welcome to episode 36 of Buxton Barrow, where I talk about Buxton and clean up the town at the same time. Today I thought we'd look at Haddon Hydropathic Hotel and Health Resort. A bit of a long-winded name, so I'm going to shorten it to Haddon Hydro. The Haddon Hydro was constructed in the late 1880s on London Road by Richard Freckingham, a gentleman who had a long career in specialist hydro hotels. He worked for John Smedley in Matlock for 12 years as a head bathman in the famous Smedley Hydropathic Hotel. And it was from this that Richard decided to have a crack at running his own hydropathic. And so he set up his first in 1869, the Rose Cottage, which I believe was located in Matlock Bath. And of course from there Richard decided he wanted to build a grand hydro, much more akin to the one that he worked at in Matlock, and so the Haddon Hydro was born. The building had 41 bedrooms and the most up-to-date hydro equipment with a double set of baths. It was advertised that Richard had discovered a remedy for dropsy, which never fails to cure 9 cases out of 10. Which I feel like if you're going to make something up, you might as well say 10 out of 10. But of course, it is a remedy that he only offered in his hotel. Unfortunately, Mr. Freckingham died at his hotel in the 1st of January 1891 at 54, leaving his 2 daughters in charge. To them, it wasn't in their best interest to keep the hydro running, and so not long after their father's death, the building was put up for sale. But it had not sold by 1902, when it was unsuccessfully put up for auction, and for some reason the freehold property was withdrawn during that auction. It's unsure when the building might have swapped hands in terms of ownership, but from September of 1891, the owner of the business became George Edwin Hall. Now sadly, Hall died at the end of 1901. His wife Elizabeth continued running the property for some years after. And the hotel continued through the wars and reopened after, now being ran by the Olivers. But at some point after, the building was taken over by the Central Electricity Generating Board, and it was used by them as a national training centre for several years. And during this time, it was known as the Electricity Hall. In September of 1984, Roseanne Williams's family bought Haddon Hall. It was operated by them as a hotel up until 1995. The building was later converted into flats, and it was closed down by Derbyshire Fire and Rescue Service in June of 1999 on safety grounds, as the High Peak Borough Council's environmental health officer had raised concerns that the apartments were at risk of fire because of a build-up of combustible material and faulty fire alarm system. And those concerns, as well as a fire on the premise, led to the residences being evacuated and the building abandoned. And in 2010, the inevitable happened, as it was a target of an arson attack, and so it was subsequently demolished, and by 2012 nothing remained on the site. By 2014 a new care home was built in its place, named Haddon Hall. Now for the cleanup section in this video, I decided to tackle the lake once more because the algae is still coming back, and of course the council haven't done anything about it. So I was doing the usual technique, and the people who owned the boats were pumping it out at the same time further down. And eventually, although I don't show it, I had to leave, they managed to clear the entire thing. So the lake is now, well, as I speak now, clear and free from algae, but I'm sure that will change in the future. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. Sorry it's not as high quality as usual. It was made in a bit of a rush. Once again, I am working 7 days a week during summer, but hope you have a good weekend. Until next time, ta-ra. On his life of Elizabeth.